Fable series has a very special place in my very big heart. I remember playing Fable 1 on the original Xbox. I remember watching the trailer for Fable 2 endlessly on the Xbox 360. I just have so many great memories with this series. So when Fable 4 was announced, I was pretty hyped up about it. That was until I started seeing the news surrounding this game and how it might just be woke. Like how Matt Booty went ahead in an interview and pretty much said that this game would be made for a modern audience. Or like how a former artist on this game made a tweet saying that this game isn't gonna be woke, that we were kind of misinterpreting what Matt Booty had said, but then quickly deleted those tweets. The latest trailer for this game that premiered at the Xbox Showcase just about a week ago has me even more concerned. After watching this, any hype for this game that I had, it's completely gone, and I am very concerned about the disaster that this will turn out to be. We're going to watch some of this trailer. We're going to watch all of it, actually. I'm going to give you my thoughts and all of that stuff. If you've been around my channel for a while now, you know how this goes.
Oh, we're finally doing this, are we? Because I was going to make a sandwich.
Sadly, we are finally doing this.
Okay. Let's do it. What do I think about heroes?
So the first problem I actually have with this trailer is right here. How it seems that this guy is doing an interview. How he's talking to a camera, how he's talking to someone else, how he's talking to us as the audience. I absolutely hate when video games get meta because very few video games can actually pull stuff like this off. I just don't like it. It takes away from the video game itself. Now, the Fable series, you know, they did have these sort of moments in it, like Fable 2 and Fable 3, because in Fable 2 and in Fable 3, whenever you would beat a quest, you would get these little quest cards pop up on screen that kind of addressed us as the player. Sometimes it was goofy, sometimes it was meant to make us feel bad, and all of that stuff. But it was never a major character or a villain that was directly addressing us. And the reason why is because when games do this, it takes something away from them. It takes away that immersion that you feel when you're playing a game. And this is how I felt watching this entire trailer.
Well, we've all seen them, haven't we? Swanning about the place with their disproportionately high cheekbones and comically massive weapons.
Comically massive weapons, and they go ahead and they show like a regular size sword. You know what? At least if you're going to have this in a trailer, at least have it one of those like big hammer type stuff. I don't know. I just found that funny. I don't know if they meant to do it or it was just an oversight or what.
Because they like to rough up bad.
Now here, I do have to give credit where credit is due, and I know we're kind of going fast with this, but it is what it is. Now, one of the things I hated in Fable 3 and in Fable Journey, or from what I've seen of Fable Journey, I will say, is the gauntlet. How the prince has to kind of use the gauntlet in order to channel his will, because the will got so diluted as the generations went by. I am very happy that they have done away with this idea and they just have the regular magic back. So I do have to give credit where credit is due to Playground Games.
And it's, don't they? Living it up with the common folk every single night. On a day-to-day basis, I'd say the true hero is me, someone who's breaking new ground with fruit, with veg, on the agricultural side of things.
Just look at them.
Not wafting around mythical creatures.
So obviously that is the call back to Chicken Chaser, you know, Fable 1, Fable 2, and that. When you could kick the chickens. But there's another glaring problem with this trailer, and it makes me believe that this is going to be another Saints Row reboot situation. And that is, they are relying too much on the goofiness of it. This entire trailer, when we watch more of it, you will see it's supposed to come off as this goofy type thing. And the same thing can really be said about the villain of this game, or at least the villain of this trailer, which seems to be the guy that is talking to the camera. That he's supposed to be this goofy type villain, which does not work in a Fable game. Sure, the Fable games, Fable 1, Fable 2, Fable 3, all had goofy elements in it. That is what made them great. But the main subject, I guess you can say, the main theme was pretty serious. In Fable 1, it was about stopping Jack of Blades from conquering Albion, We had him kidnap the hero's mother. We had him cut out the hero's sister's eyes and all of this stuff. In Fable 2 with Lucian, if you go ahead and if you have a family, before you actually go to confront him, Lucian will straight up murder your wife and your kids. Like, you will go back to your house and you will see blood all over the walls and everything. He straight up murders them. And in Fable 3, we see with Logan, we see how bad of a ruler he is. We see that he endorses a child labor. We see that he's cruel. We see that he's vindictive, and he will do whatever he deems necessary to save Albion, even though a lot of those decisions are really bad. But I just don't feel like it's going to be that way with this trailer. I think they're going to be placing a big emphasis on it being goofy. And it reminds me of the Saints Row reboot, where we had developers working on the Saints Row reboot who claimed to understand the, let's say, the source material, the first 2 games, when they really didn't, when they believed that they knew better than the fans and did their own thing. And look how that turned out. And that is how I feel this Fable 4 is going to turn out. It's going to be exactly like that, and it's going to be just as big of a disaster. Hopefully I am wrong, because I do love this franchise, but with the way the video game industry is today, you know, I don't know.
Wafters.
Yeah, well done.
You see, I'm not here to slay legendary beasts. I'm here to conquer the vegetable, not a euphemism.
Big, compelling villain. I'm here to conquer the vegetable. Right.
Let's face it, the age
Goofy.
of heroes is over. This is the age of innovation. This, if you will, is the age of death. One moment. This is awkward.
And we can see that he is a giant. Now, I don't really like that, because when I think of giants, I think of creatures that are pretty much indestructible. And compared to the size of him to this protagonist here, it seems like that would be the case, but we know that it isn't, especially if he is the villain. And this brings me back to my biggest problem with this trailer, and it's that they are depending too hard on the fairy tale stuff. The Fable series, all right? Everybody knows that the Fable series always had this fairy tale type feel to it, but it never actually made it feel like we were in a fairy tale. Sure, it had some mysticism in it, it had some fairies in it, it had some werewolves or Belverines, excuse me, but they were able to do their own spin on it, and that is what made it great. But it feels like from this trailer here that Fable 4 is going to be relying too heavily on the tropes from fairy tales. I mean, just look at the giant, the main villain of this game. And the thing is, giants have existed in the Fable universe before, but they were not these creatures that were hundreds of feet tall. Instead, there were people like Twinblade, people who were just generally taller, who was generally bigger, who was generally more intimidated. Those were giants. Twinblade was named the Giant Bandit, if I remember correctly. And the thing that made the Fable great was that it was never this fairy tale game, like I mentioned before. It never fully crossed under that threshold. But it seems, like I said earlier, that this game here, Fable 4, it's going to be relying heavily on these fairy tale themes. And look, like she or he or whatever you want to call it, because you know what, as an ugly person, I'm allowed to say this, that character is ugly, and I actually had a hard time telling whether that it was a male or female after I first watched this trailer. But look at how she, he, whatever, is getting tossed around by that giant. Now, if this giant is supposed to be a villain, this would never have happened. If he was a villain, say with the personality of Logan, with the personality of Lucian, or with the personality of Jack of Blades, he'd just pick her up and squish her. That's it. That is what they would literally do. And this is what makes me believe that the developers behind this game, Playground Games, who has never worked on this type of game before, who has only worked on racing games before, doesn't fully understand the material that they are working with.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, fuck is exactly what I thought after watching this trailer. And it is clear that I am not the only person that is not happy with this trailer. Because if we go ahead and we look at the likes to dislike ratios over on GameSpot, that is where I viewed this trailer at, you can see that it has 10,000 likes to 32,000 dislikes. I am very, very concerned about this game. I do not think it is going to be a good game. I think it is going to be a game that is made for the modern audience, like Matt Booty had said, and I think it's going to be exactly like the Saints Row reboot. I think they're only going to have the Fable name on this game because they know it will sell copies, because fans like me have been waiting for Fable 4 for a very, very long time. At least when good old Petey was involved with this game, despite all the lies he told, there was some consistency to them. And now, with Fable 4, I don't know. I'm not excited. I think it's going to be absolutely horrible. I do not think it is going to suffer as much as the Saints Row reboot did. I think that this game is probably going to have no glitches, no big bugs in that. But I think story-wise, I think gameplay-wise, it is just going to be meh. But what do you guys think about this entire situation? Are you excited for Fable 4? Do you think it's going to suck? Do you like this trailer? Do you like how the protagonist looks? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope I guys have an amazing, wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.